Good morning, everybody. Hey, let me pull this down. Good morning. Good to see you. Welcome to another day of quarantine life, defining my day, and all this other stuff going on. It's another day plodding forward. Um, and I'm going to be here every day with you as we do what we need to do. Today, in particular, is about the fine line between giving yourself some grace and giving up. And there is a significant difference between the two. We want to be nice to ourselves. We don't want to mask abusing ourselves or making the situation worse as being nice to ourselves. So we're going to talk about that. It's some real talk we're going to get into in a little while here. But as we let people jump on and as we do the things, we let people get on to this session, I'm going to head into our memes of the day and a couple other things we have going on. Good morning, Janice. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here every day. It is a nice sunny day this morning here, although I think it's going to get cloudy. It's goofy weather coming up for us. We have some rain, some snow, some cold weather. All the stuff we were enjoying the past couple of weeks does not seem to be in the forecast. So, we're gonna make do with what we got and just try to enjoy it while we have it. All right, so let's jump into our first meme of the day. Now, I've seen quite a few of these Princess Bride memes lately. And I thought this one was very appropriate because we talked about setting expectations the other day. And so we talked about effective communication too, right? And this one was just like, man, I wish I had this the day we did that. So, 4 steps to being good at talking. 1, have a polite greeting. 2, state your name. 3, have a relevant personal link. And number 4, manage expectations. So, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. That does all 4 of those things. Let's try to follow that example as we move forward. All right, next one. Again, with the Princess Bride. Waking up every morning in 2020, be like, let's see, where are we? Oh, yes, the pit of despair. So it's not that dramatic right now for most of us, but, I think that, yeah. And so Janice, 2020 for you. Yeah, the weather. So 2020, I mean, the weather is like the least of our problems. It's just that thing. I don't really get out and enjoy it a whole lot. And, we're doing our thing. But it's just, I don't know why. I'm not a weather guy. I'm not a guy that goes talking about the weather all the time. For some reason, being stuck in the house has me looking at the weather every day. I have no idea why. It's just a weird psychological thing going on right now. Along with my hair. I reposted a photo that I posted 10 years ago of a hockey player, Jaromir Jagr, if anybody knows who he is. He had a glorious mullet years ago. It was some beautiful plumage. And so I posted a photo that 10 years ago when the Penguins were in the playoffs, talking about how I can't grow a playoff beard, so I'm just going to grow a playoff mullet. And now the Penguins aren't playing. I'm just growing a mullet because I can. So let's see what happens over the next couple of months and what my mullet looks like. Good morning, Lori and Angel. Good morning, Debbie. Thoughtful Tuesday to you too. Barb, I am new here and am from Canada, Ontario. Where are you from? So we are in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So not terribly far. I've been to Toronto before. Beautiful city. First time I ever had sushi was in Toronto, of all places. Stacy, good morning. This is I actually laughed out loud and I'm gonna spit out my coffee seeing this one. What new skills did you acquire during self quarantine? And the photo is somebody sticking their face in a pitcher of coffee and blowing it out the stem into the coffee mug. Very good skill that I actually may try. I have to see if we have one of those. Good morning, Livy. It's amazing how badly we're screwing up an apocalypse on the easy setting. We're clearly not ready for zombies or aliens. absolutely true. Like this is kind of like an easy apocalypse, right? I mean, so far this isn't the Black Death, this isn't smallpox, this isn't like any of the big things that have hit us over the history of humanity. But we are not handling this well right now. Yeah, I feel like we can be doing a lot better. Top three hobbies are eating at restaurants, going to non-essential businesses, and touching my face. Yep, that seems to be like all of this stuff is in sharp focus right now, right? Good morning, Gene. Good morning, Janice. Pictures of that coffee thing. Yeah. So this I'm I might have to do a video of that, me trying this. I mean, it's just one of those things that maybe I'll have to find some time to do it. Um, and that's it for our memes of the day today. I have quite a few more. I just every time I see one that makes me chuckle, I have to save it, and I figure it's fun, and it gives me time to screw off while you guys are jumping on. So last night we watched Field of Dreams. My wife suggested it, and promptly fell asleep after we started it, which normally happens. It's why I have a hard time letting her pick movies, especially if you go to a theater, because there's nothing more frustrating than spending $30 or $40 on going to a theater and picking a movie that I wouldn't normally watch and being the only one awake to watch it. So anyway, we watched Field of Dreams last night with my oldest, and he really liked it. It was good. But the thing through all of it, there are two things I picked out that I found interesting. The first is there's a scene about halfway through the movie where they come home from the grocery store and he realizes he has to go and find Terrence Mann, which is the character played by, oh my goodness, why can't I remember his name right now? The guy that did the voice for Darth Vader. God, I can't remember his voice. Somebody put it in the comments, or can't remember his name. Put it in the comments, please. But anyway, so they walk in the door and she's putting away like the few groceries they have, and they bought a 4-roll package of toilet paper. And I'm like, that's not going to last a day in my house. I mean, if that lasts until noon, that's a dream. That's a miracle. I thought that was amazing, especially in the era of buying like 36 rolls of toilet paper at Sam's Club and hoarding those, buying multiples of those, as we've seen recently. A 4-roll package of toilet paper just seems absurd. Absolutely absurd right now. James Earl Jones. Thank you, Heather. Man, thank you. I said his name like 10 times last night because I was telling my kid all about him and how cool his voice is and, whatever. Yeah, James Earl Jones. How did I forget that right now? It's like those, when I'm on a track, I just can't deviate. I just can't. The other part of that movie that, you get a little misty-eyed when he meets his dad, right? Yeah. So, when his dad takes off the mask and walks over to him and he realizes it's his dad, and oh man. But something occurred to me. He got to see his dad in the prime of his life, right? Most of us don't get to see our parents that way. My kids are not going to get to see me like in my best shape. But what occurred to me then is that I feel like it's maybe more of my responsibility now to make sure that they see me in the best shape that I can be. And we can make that a physical statement or a mental statement. Like someday my kid, I'm going to be gone. And they're going to remember me either as a healthy person, a person that was vibrant, a person that enjoyed life, a person that was able to do things with them that that they enjoyed doing, or they're going to remember me in a different way, whatever that might look like. And so I thought that the beauty of that moment where he got to see his dad as a healthy baseball player, like that, like I want my kids to remember the next 10 years that we spend together as like a time that we spent where we were active together, where we did things. So I felt like, that put into it like put into focus that the importance of why I'm doing what I'm doing with Define My Day, why we're doing what we're doing with our business, why we're doing the things in our own personal growth with the relationship between, Lynn and I, but also my physical health. Why, for a long time now, I've been working out every day, although that's not the case right now. But even as, I've let little things slide with my diet, I need to make sure that I keep things in the proper focus moving forward. I can't give up all of the success I've had. And that kind of goes to this conversation about, um, we're giving ourselves some grace and a little bit of leniency to mitigate some of the stress we're under, or are we just giving up on a lot of the things that we said were important to us, either out of neglect, or self pity, or maybe because they just weren't that important in the first place? I don't know. But so there's some examples that I want to talk about, and there's two differences. I've noticed some conversation in the group and on some of our posts, where people are having a hard time with Define My Day. Now, that person having a hard time with Define My Day, is not giving up. That's a person that's just having a hard time, which I can appreciate. Hold on one second. Let me find the one post that I was referencing. Okay, good. All right. Well, that's actually not the one that I meant. Hold on. See, dead air, dead air, dead air. Not what we want for this. I'm still working on it, guys. I'm not perfect. That is faux show. Okay. Da, 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 da. All right, here we go. Yeah, you guys get to watch me just sit here and do nothing. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Um, Why can't I find what I was looking for? Anyway, all right. So we'll deal with what we can deal with here. All right. So we had one person in the user group mention, that she was having a hard time getting started. It just wasn't working out for her. We had one person in on one of our posts, our public posts, that said something similar. Bot one can't really seem to get into it, is a little bit overwhelmed by the process. To those two people, I would say, and I did say, I gave 3 steps to the person in the public post. If you aren't in the user group, get in the user group, because you're going to get so much support. And I referenced actually the comment in the user group for the other person that was having a hard time. Your comments, the user group comments in there, were golden. I can't even add to that. There's nothing to be added. You guys did better than I could have. So kudos to everybody that commented on that person's post. I don't think there's any better way to support that person. Number 2, start slow. Maybe for a week, you only just go through the process. Just fill in the pages, right? Make priority number 1, Define My Day. And you just go through the process. Do the little bit of journaling at the end of the day. Maybe you do just the pre-filled in disciplines that are in there. Like just, like exercise can be 5 minutes of walking, right? Walk up and down the block. Eating well is whatever you define it as. It doesn't need to be big. Just you want to get momentum. You're a train trying to get out of the station, right? We got a lot of baggage, we got a lot of passengers, we got a lot of things going on. We're just trying to get moving. And once you get moving, it gets harder to stop, right? So we just want to get moving. And the third one is, watch the videos. Watch the daily videos. There's a lot of good conversation that happens in here. There's a lot of good points. Even the getting started videos on YouTube, there's a lot of stuff there. So if you haven't watched any of that stuff, I mean, if you're on the video now, thank you. I appreciate it. If you feel like you need to share these with somebody, please do. If you're somebody that hasn't watched the getting started videos, you're having a hard time getting started, um, go ahead and get rolling there. Like get watch those videos and put pen to paper and just get moving. A lot of times it's just a matter of like you got to just do the work, right? Um, yeah. So Angel, I just saw the message you sent me. So that is the person in the user group that I'm referencing. Look, it's the process is not meant to make you feel bad. It's not meant to, it's not meant to put more pressure on you. It's to help you align what you are doing with where you want to go. And this takes me to the giving grace or giving up difference. But before we go there, I'm going to head into the comments real quick and just make sure I'm not missing anything in there. Sherry says, "Hi, I'm Sherry Weiss. I can't get you live because it says Safari can't open the page because of an invalid address. Can you help?" I don't know, Sherry. The fact that you're making a comment makes it feel like you should be able to see it. I don't know what the problem with Safari is there. The only thing I can say is maybe try Chrome. I don't know. Carrie, good morning. Sherry, would it be giving grace to change the priorities and steps into a list of random items that I try to get done rather than just doing nothing? That might be the case. So, and this is kind of what I'm saying as far as, I recommend making an entire list of the things that you feel like you need to do, right? And then we sort of sort that list as the more important things. Right now, it's kind of hard to see long-term goals. It's kind of hard to really see that. So right now, I think it's just more about the momentum and just getting things done. And those things might not be priorities. They might just be something, right? Something is better than nothing, I think, right now. So I think you're kind of putting a face on what I'm recommending for everybody is that, like, don't try to make this like a grand thing. Like, don't try to, if you're running a business, don't try to implement a bunch of new stuff and change the face of your business. Right now, for businesses, a lot of times we're talking survival um, or maintaining, right? We have a lot of things that we've sort of put on hold and kicked to the next quarter because we're just maintaining and making sure that we're doing good at the moment, right? So same thing with our personal lives. Like now is not the time to start trying to lose a ton of weight. Now is the time to just maintain health and maybe start a gradual slowdown or a gradual weight loss. Something that's just healthy. You want to just be a little bit more healthy every day, not like woohoo. Now I'm going all at it. Like this isn't New Year's. This is let's just make sure that we're not going the wrong direction in this, right? And that's it. Like this whole process shouldn't make you feel overwhelmed. It shouldn't make you feel bad about yourself. It's just a way to bring into view the things that are important to you to move forward. We don't want to be trying to overdo it. We want to be just you know what we can, working within a healthy boundary for ourselves. Good morning, Deborah. Heather says, "I'm so glad I found your page again. I was watching it the other day for the first time and was captured by your message, but somehow the window closed and I navigated away. I hate it when that happens. I do that too. Thankfully, shut up on my feet again today. Now I can follow. Thank you very much. I appreciate that." Yeah, Heather, I that has happened to me many times, and or I may accidentally refresh the feed and I lose the one post that I was trying to read and I forget who even posted it. It happens. So this is the big thing about what I want to talk about right now, though, is that there's the people that are having a hard time with the process, but they're trying to work through it. That's the person that needs to give themselves some grace, right? That's the person that should understand that any change, no matter how simple it may seem, is not easy. Change is hard, no matter how small that change is. I mean, small habits, like who's had a hard time taking their daily vitamins? Like, raise your hand. Hit the like thing real quick. Um, like taking a daily vitamin, literally, it takes 10 seconds to fill up a glass of water. It takes 10 seconds to pull a vitamin out of a bottle. And it takes like 3 seconds to put it down your throat. But it's one of those habits that, even for me, is like, man, I forgot again. Like, I mean, it's just like, why? Like, it's good for me. Like, and we can say that whether you don't believe in vitamins or not, it could be probiotics, it could be anything, right? But it's good for me. It will make me healthy over a long time. But we just have like this hard time. Like, why? Because it's just not part of our regular process. And we build it up in a way sometimes to something that it really doesn't need to be, right? And so we just need to kind of like give ourselves grace. Like, okay, look, I messed up. I didn't take my vitamins yesterday. Today, I'm going to try it again and do it, right? Like today, I'm going to commit to myself at 9 a.m. My alarm is going to go off on my phone and I'm going to go take my probiotic, whatever you're taking, right? I'm going to do this thing. And that's it. Like, you've made the decision. Now you've made the decision. Don't even think about it in your brain anymore. Like, just every 9 a.m., go downstairs and take your vitamin, right? Or every time you wake up, the first thing you do is go define my day, right? Don't even think about it anymore, because when you think about it, it turns it into this whole big thing. That's the whole reason the Mel Robbins 5-second rule works, because we stop thinking about it and we just do it. We count down 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And you just go and do it, right? And like, it doesn't like, and if we start there with small things, getting out of bed on time, brushing our teeth, flossing, defining our day, journaling at the end of the day, taking our vitamins, walking around the block. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to walk around the block. I'm walking out the door right now. Let's go. I'm not even going to think about it. There's no debate. There's no, like, is the weather okay? There's no, whatever. We just go, right? And when you take all of that thinking, like, your brain is burning energy when you have that argument in your mind every day. And we just need to get out of that, right? And we find creative ways to, like, oh, well, I need to do this, and oh, I need to do this, and oh, I need to do. And a lot of times we just end up thinking about all the things we need to do and we don't do, right? So don't build it into this big thing. Decide on what you're going to do and do it, and start that habit of just doing things, right? Whether it's define my day, or pushing away food you don't want to eat, or taking your vitamins, or those little things every day, right? And that's just how we want to start, right? We don't need to go define my day, I am going to make $1 million this week. Or define my day, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this month. Or define my day, I'm going to repair every relationship in my life, right? Like, that's not possible, right? If you're not the person that is already highly productive, right, then you can't be putting down amazing, huge things right now. They can be on your long-term list. They can be a couple of years down the road. Sure, I want to be in better shape, whatever that looks like for you 2 years from now. Great. Now let's come up with a timeline. But that first starts with taking my vitamins, taking a 10-minute walk around the block, right? Meal planning every week, right? I want to get a promotion next year. So what are all the things we start doing now? Like right now, simple steps, right? Or I just want to start developing better habits. Okay, let's break this down to really simple steps right now. It is not blow it out of the water. I'm going to suddenly be a new person. I'm going to be amazing compared to yesterday when I felt not so amazing. That doesn't happen. That's not realistic. That is not giving yourself grace. So giving yourself grace, what that looks like is small steps. Daily small steps forward, right? Sheila says it every day in the user group. Small steps every day. It's not overwhelming priorities and tasks. It is not sleeping. It is not feeling overly stressed about this gigantic list of things we need to do to the point where it paralyzes us, and then we can't do anything. We're anxious and depressed at our progress or lack of progress. So, if you are the person overwhelmed by all of the things, slow down. Slow down. Give yourself grace. Understand that anything new takes a ramp up, right? Going back to that, I wish I would have thought to put it on here today. Going to that graphic. 0.01% change daily is imperceptible for a long period of time. And you get this hockey stick graph where it's imperceptible, and all of a sudden just starts rising and goes straight to the top. That is what we're looking for with this. A little bit of progress every day. And then one day you're going to look back and go, wow, what just happened? These past couple of months, although hard at times, and although I had to keep pushing forward a little bit every day, I look back and go, I never would have done that without just taking that little step every day. And oh my goodness, I can't imagine being where I was a couple of months ago. And when you look back on it, as the person that's been doing this for 4 or 5 years, no, and I still have a lot of work to do, but as the person that's been doing this 4 or 5 years in some form or fashion, as I've been perfecting this, I can look back and say, and looking at the two me's that might be right now, the me now and then the me if I never made any of these changes, I can't imagine being that other person. I probably, as that other person, would not be aware, and I would be blaming everybody else for the situation I'm in, and I would be resentful, and I would be angry and upset, and probably living alone in an apartment right now. I don't know where my life would be if I hadn't started this, and I certainly never want to find out. I am much happier. I am confident that I'm much happier now because of the small steps that I took every day. And don't mistake it. There are days when I screw up a lot. And there are days when I look back and go, man, that's an old you coming back, and don't do that again. And then it happens again, and I say, okay, now don't do it again, right? But I'm still making progress. Give yourself grace. You're going to mess up. It's going to be hard. Small things are going to seem hard. It's still okay, right? And now, there's this other type of person. This is on the other side of it. The person that's giving up. The person that's waiting for something to fix them automatically. The person that buys Define My Day and thinks that by owning it, it's going to fix their problems. That they don't write in it, it's just they buy it and it's going to magically work. The person that buys into a diet and then doesn't follow it and it doesn't work. The person that buys a course or takes a class and doesn't implement it and they complain about the progress that they didn't make, right? The person, it's the person that feels like there's some shortcut to change, some shortcut to success, some shortcut to, like, someday they're going to wake up and magically things are going to be fixed. Like there's some Disney fairy tale that's going to happen. Like, and it's fed to us every day, right? Somebody, like, somehow, like, there's a montage that's going to happen, a Rocky montage or whatever, and all of a sudden things are going to be fixed. That doesn't happen. Even lottery winners, they win the lottery and they lose it all a couple of years later because they don't have good habits. They don't know what they're doing with the money. They didn't form all of the knowledge and expertise to be able to manage the money properly, so they go back to being broke. There is no quick fix. There is no quick fix. This is life. This is reality. And so if you're a person that says, like, if you joke, I understand, like, people want to be funny. And they see a post from us and they say, oh, in my book, it would just say lay on the couch 8 hours a day and then go into my nighttime pajamas. Yeah, it's funny, right? We're all kind of in that situation. But there's a lot of truth in that for some people too. Like, we're sitting around and not doing anything healthy for ourselves and then expect that someday everything is going to be okay. That is not reality. That's not reality. And it pisses me off. You have to do, like, you don't have to be super productive. You don't have to be Superman, Superwoman right now. You don't have to be super mom, super dad. You have to now survive. However, surviving financially, from a health perspective, mentally, surviving means doing what you need to do today that's good for you. Good for you, not bad for you. Not I'm going to give up and wait for something to magically fix me. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. You certainly don't want to be worse off at the end of this than you were when you started, right? And some of us might be, but if we can try to flatten that curve or stop that nosedive, let's do it. And doing that means taking care of yourself. All the healthy habits we talk about, having a good sleep schedule, eating well. Although some of us might be taking liberties there, I get it. We're trying to manage the stress and the overwhelm. We can't do it to the point where it gives us a heart condition. Right? Like, we're not exercising the way that we want to. Our routines are screwed up. It's our responsibility to try to fix that, or at least mitigate the damage. But we can't. We certainly cannot go to the point where we're just giving up on all of it and saying, oh, well, coronavirus, whatever, I'm giving up, I'm writing it all off. Yeah, that's not going to end up well for you. That's not going to end up well. And I know that a significant number of people that are going to be complaining about their health and about their social situation and about their financial situation, and they're going to be complaining and pointing fingers at everybody else, a lot of those people are going to be the ones that did nothing during this time, right? They did nothing healthy for themselves. I'm not saying this is the time that we need to be learning more than ever, that we need to be exercising more than ever, utilizing our time. I'm not saying that. I'm not following that toxic BS. What I am saying is that if you've given up on all of it, don't be pointing fingers at everybody else when you come out of this unhealthy in all of the different areas in your life. It's not okay. It's not okay. It is our responsibility to take care of ourselves in any way that we can. And that's why we need to be looking at what we're doing today. How do I feel about what I did? If you can honestly say that you sat and watched 8 hours of TV today and it didn't add to your anxiety and it didn't add to your negative mental state and it didn't do anything negative to you, if you can say that it was actually good for you, fine. If it helped you detach and normalize, fine. But if it didn't, and I want you to be honest with yourself, if it didn't, then what changes are you going to make tomorrow? What are you going to do tomorrow? Maybe you cut down that 8 hours of TV watching to 7, and you just take 1 hour to go on a 15-minute walk, to read for 15 minutes, to meditate for 10 minutes, to define my day for 5 minutes, to meal plan for 10 minutes, to take your vitamins for 2 minutes, right? To pick up the phone and talk to somebody for 5 minutes. You can replace, if you stop distracting yourself for a significant amount of time, if you can stop yourself from distracting yourself and open up space to do other healthy things, it helps. It helps. All right, let me go back into the comments here. Janice says, some days I just write what I did get done. And that's okay, right? I mean, sometimes, and I've done that too. It's not the normal for me, but I've done that where I will just I'll write something hazy in my priority, like stay active or, be healthy, or, some of the little healthy habits I need to be doing today that I might sometimes let slide. And then I'll leave like priority 2 or 3 open, or both. And I will actually do things that just kind of come at me. And as long as I'm just getting things done, like I'll backfill it. I'll say, yeah, that was a priority. I put that in there, right? It's happened. It happens. Um, and Lori says, I think that's what I need to start doing for a little while. Yeah. Levi, my issue is that they make my tummy hurt, so I avoid them. Yeah, and that's okay. But that's a theme, though. Avoid the things that don't feel good. Can you speak on that? And sometimes that's okay, right? Like, so there's, I think it goes into figuring out why it doesn't make you feel good. There are certain things. Some people avoid paying bills, and some people avoid, because it hurts to look at their financial situation. But that's like a hard thing that you need to look at, right? Other people, take exercise as one of the easiest ones to look at, right? So exercise might not make us feel good at first, right? And so, is it something that it doesn't make us feel good because it's not authentic to what we want? Or is it just because we're in a habit of not pushing through resistance? There's a significant difference there. Sometimes we need to look at what doesn't make us feel good because it's not in alignment with where we want to go, and that's our brain telling us, we really don't want this. But other times we're just in a habit of not doing the things that we need to do because we're in a habit of just bouncing away from resistance. We see a little bit of resistance and we say, you know what, it's just too hard for me right now. And we make it a habit of going the easy way. And that's what we kind of want to break. Like, so that's the lobster saying, oh, my shell's getting tight. I'm just not going to grow right now. I'm going to go try to, slither away or crawl away and just be okay with this. And that's what causes anxiety and causes things to build up, right? So sometimes we just need to get into the habit of doing hard things. And again, hard things can be simple, like taking vitamins or eating healthier in a small way. And I would say, that is just find wins in small spaces. So if you have something that you don't feel good about doing, right? But you still need to do it. If it's something that you need to do because it's a priority or an obligation that needs to be done, then find a time to do it, commit to doing it at that time, and just do it. But do it in a small amount. And as you get moving, you might find that you can do it for a little bit longer. Don't get burned out, but do it for a little bit longer. And at the very least, do it for the time that you committed to it. So it might be 10 minutes. Just do it for that 10 minutes. No matter how bad you want to quit, just do it for the 10 minutes. And I can tell you, in a simple area where this is, I've noticed in my own mind, is reading, right? Reading for me, with all these things going on right now, is incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard to focus on what I'm reading. So I will read a paragraph and my mind will go off in another place, and then I'll have to reread the paragraph over and over again before it sinks in because I keep thinking about other things. That's hard for me. It's frustrating. But I have to keep doing it because I'm training myself to focus on what I'm trying to focus on right now and not let my brain run away. It's almost like a mindfulness meditation practice, right? Now, I could just say, well, you know what, I'm just not going to read now. Or I can say, you know what, no, I am going to read now. I committed to reading for 15 minutes right now. I'm going to read. And if I have to read the same damn paragraph 20 times, I'm going to read it. And it's finally going to sink in eventually. And then when that 15 minutes is up, I say, okay, can I go another 10? Maybe realistically the answer is no. Other times it's like, yeah, let's give it a shot, right? And you can do that with anything. You can do it with anything. You can do it with work, a project. I mean, even me doing these podcasts, like it takes time to do the audio, to upload the podcast and stuff, right? And I just have to put it on my calendar and say 1 o'clock, I'm uploading these, right? And I just do it. And, if I get into a groove, maybe I go a little bit longer, but I at least do it for the time that I committed to doing it. And so that's kind of how I would look at that. If it doesn't feel good, you have to figure it out. If it's something that doesn't feel good because it's not authentic to you and you really don't want to be doing it and you shouldn't be doing it, or is it something that you doesn't feel good because it's just a bad habit that you avoid it, and it's something you should be doing that you know is good for you in the long run. So, and that's the way I would look at that. Stacy says, I've had to adjust and set my priorities far lower than I would, but it's helped. I find that I feel far more successful nailing the small bites on big projects. Yes, and that's exactly what you should be doing right now, I think. Usually I end up getting enough momentum and I decide to push through and get 2 times more done. And that's what I was just talking about. That's exactly right. Then I'm feeling really satisfied that I got through bonus rounds. Yeah, if I don't get to the bonus round, I still win. Absolutely. That is exactly the right mindset. Thank you. I appreciate that. For example, Levi, going back to Levi, for example, walking around the block and taking the thinking out works because it's not uncomfortable. That's good. Perfect. Please keep those reminders coming. Just hearing the hockey stick idea is invaluable, but need to hear it at least weekly. Thank you. So maybe that. All right. So we're gonna keep posting that. I think that's what we're gonna do. The hockey stick is something that we're gonna bring back. I'm gonna have to find that graphic and we're gonna have to talk about it. And that's it. You know, like that small imperceptible gain is what we're looking for every day. Just knowing that you did what you set out to do, no matter how small, is incredibly important. And going against that, like not doing those little things that you set out to do, weighs you down. And it just you want to pull out of that nosedive if you're in that. Amy, good morning. You're late. Hey, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You can always watch the replay. I appreciate you being here in the first place. And really, like for the first 10 minutes, we do the memes and we just try to get everybody hopped on and hanging out. So you're good, Amy. And so, yeah, and so Levi goes back to, you're talking about depression, right? So maybe depression or codependent or recovery, not an excuse, but doing nothing comes from somewhere. And you're going back to what I was talking about, like just sitting there and doing nothing, right? I was the person on the sofa for a minute, but you have to fight your way back, even if it's small steps. DMD was one of those tiny steps. And so I've been through depression, right? And I'm in no way a therapist. And I'm in no way making a blanket statement as to what can help anybody or everybody. But I do know what worked for me. And, I've gone through a range of it over the years from the time I was a teenager through my 20s. And I would say that the biggest thing, the one thought that somebody important to me planted in my mind was that I had the ability to change my situation. And if I was having 99.9 negative thoughts every day about myself, about other people, about my situation, and all of it, it was my responsibility to try to change that programming a little bit every day. And you can do that. You can try to do that by positive thinking. But I think the really effective way is to build up a history of positive things. And, if you have a pie where it's just a lot of negative that you're constantly thinking about, you need to insert that wedge and make that wedge bigger where you're thinking about one, appreciation, the positive things you have in life, the things that you have, no matter how bad things seem, the couple of good things you have. You have to build up, you have to honor your commitments to yourself. And that's what we talk about, these small steps every day. Honoring those commitments we make to ourselves. If we say, for somebody incredibly depressed that doesn't even want to get out of bed, we say, I am getting out of bed at 8 a.m. today. And then you honor that commitment. Mission accomplished. And then tomorrow we do the same thing. That, I think, if you can do one small thing like that for yourself every day. Now, you might mess it up once. And we say, you know what? I messed up today. Tomorrow I'm going to come back and I'm going to do it right. It's hard. But if you can insert into that negative pie, insert one little positive and start edging it open, right? Start making a bigger and bigger wedge of positive things, positive relationships, Focus on good habits. Stop complaining. Stop doing things that you know are unhealthy for you. Trying to do like there are simple, like, we know a healthy diet, sleep, exercise, educating ourselves, accomplishing things. We know those are good things. It's a recipe for success. It's a recipe to beat things like depression and anxiety. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything better for somebody in a negative state. There's nothing better than doing the simple, healthy things that we can do: sleep, a good diet, exercise, and a small accomplishments. And when you build up a good foundation of that stuff, you can move forward onto bigger and better things. That doesn't mean we don't need therapy. We probably need therapy because we have to change the patterns of our behavior. We have to change the patterns of thought. We have to understand why we are where we are. We have to analyze the relationships around us. There's a lot of components here. But you got to put yourself in a position to win. No matter how bad you feel, we got to change that programming just a little bit every day. And it might take years. Some people, it might take decades. But we only have one life to live here. And I want to minimize the amount of time that I spend in the wrong place. So that's where my mentality was through the whole process. I can change this. I can make this better. And 15 years later, I'm where I'm at. I'm not Mr. Cured, but I am a much different person than I was when I was 25 or 30. Rita says, trying to keep routine, listening. I think you mean maybe listing. You might have been auto-corrected there. Listing projects to do for now, reading books that help personal growth. Yep, listing. There you go. I see that. So yeah, and that's what you should be doing, right? I mean, you're doing positive things there. It's exactly what we're talking about. Good for you. Janice says, stepping out of comfort zone for not feeling well symptoms may be necessary to do. Step up. And that's the thing. Like, we can't back down from challenges, even the small challenges, right? Create challenges for yourself. That was part of the today I get to enjoy, right? If I accomplish priority number one, then today at the end of the day, I get to enjoy an hour of TV, an hour of scrolling through Facebook, TikTok, whatever, a beer, whatever you want it to be, right? Have little games for yourself. If I do this, I get to do this. Or, just challenging yourself to do something just a little bit longer. Like, you can play games. Make it a little bit more fun to challenge yourself, to create little wins for yourself. It's okay. Like, whatever works for you. It shouldn't be miserable. That's not the point of any of this. Livy, you're welcome. 10 minutes and then build onto it. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Caroline says, what works for me is I bought a little digital timer. I like where this is going already. So when I really don't want to do something, I hit the timer for 5 minutes. I usually end up hitting it a few times and doing it for 15. Made it a lot easier for some tasks I avoid. That is exactly what I do. I mean, there's I will either set a timer, set an alarm on my phone, or I'll just keep an eye on the clock. And I'll do that. I love that concept. I think is that a Pomodoro technique? Is that what that is? I might be mistaking it, confusing it, but I think that might be what that is. Amy says, my first problem is I need to work on actually setting a time to get up and stick to it. I'm retired with a small dog that gets me up in the night or way too early to go out. And then I go back to bed, read Miracle Morning, trying to put it in practice, now reading Atomic Habits. And that's perfect. And that's the thing. And it's funny because dogs, you're not the first person that's mentioned that the dog kind of disrupts the sleep. And I don't know if there's a way to fix that. Like the dog's already in that habit. So I don't know if there's a way to fix that. But we deal with it in my house. If one of us has a bad night's sleep, then the other one has a bad night's sleep, and it messes everything up. So, that's another example of like trying to walk that line between giving ourselves some grace and making sure we're not giving up. Because if Lynn has a rough night's sleep and she's tossing and turning all night, there are some days where I decide, like, look, I'm gonna have to let myself sleep in because I did not get enough sleep last night. And maybe a conversation needs to be had with her about, like, what do we have to do to try to make sure we fix this. Other times it's just a one-off problem. Uh, and then other times, like, depending on the situation, my conversation with myself is, look, I'd love to sleep in, but today I can't. There's too much to do. So there's it's a matter of, like, trying to prioritize and figure out what the important step to take right now is. What I don't want to let myself do is get into the habit of sleeping in over and over again. So one bad night's sleep can't lead to multiple days of me sleeping in past when I want to be sleeping in. So you know it's it's constantly, like, daily, just reevaluating what we're doing. Livy says, going back and watching this one again. Good stuff. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Patty says, right with you. Being retired is a whole different ball game. You have all day to do the smallest thing, and putting it off is no big deal. And being single is even harder to get motivated at times. Patty, and what you're saying there is something that I've seen a lot in the retirees that are using this process. Because you spend 30, 40 years working for a company or companies. A lot of people working for their kids, if they're stay-at-home parents, and then all of a sudden all of that structure is gone. And now you're responsible for creating a structure for yourself. So it's hard, right? And so, at first is understanding the importance of having that structure. And I think you have to have a clear view of what you want to accomplish in the time you have left, whatever that might be. It might be 20, 30, 40 years, whatever time we have left on this planet. Understanding, like, having a clear sense of what the remaining purpose for you is. So I think that increases the importance of evaluating that, and bringing your daily action to that every day. So if you say your purpose in life is your family, then what today are you doing to build the relationships in your family? If your purpose is volunteering, then what today did we do to work towards volunteering more? If your purpose is only to enjoy nature or the things that you haven't been able to enjoy your previous years, what did you do today to enjoy today? So it's this constant, like, back and forth, looking ahead to, like, all of the things that you want to do, and then bringing it back to today. Okay, what's the small thing I can do today that connects me to that? And the more you do that, and the stronger that sense of connection and that sense of vision and that clarity, I think the more importance that structure on your day and making sure you're utilizing your time today, the clearer and easier that becomes. And Debbie's reading Atomic Habits too. Yeah, it's a good book. Every day, he talks about it. I think it's in that book. Every day is a vote for the person that you want to become. All of your actions are a vote for the person that you are going to become. So if you're doing things unhealthy for yourself, and going back to this what we talked about today, right? If today was a give up day, you're voting to be a give up person. If today was a struggle day, but you push through it, no matter how small, today was a vote for that person that perseveres to overcome whatever we're going through. So where are you placing your votes? Is your vote going toward the overcome side of things, or is your vote going toward the give up side of things? Where are we going? Janice just finished a great book. Yeah, it was. Amy, that's where I've been for too long. I've turned off the TV more and more. Good. And that's it. We're just, like, I'm not saying, like, and it's a very clear illustration right here. I'm not saying, if you are a person that watches 8 hours of TV a day, and I know those people are out there, if you're watching 8 hours of TV a day, then turn it off or turn it on for 7 and put 1 hour somewhere else. That for a lot of people is a huge challenge. For other people, it's like, well, I don't even watch an hour of TV a day. I get it. Like, we're all in different places. Turn it off for 1 hour and go do something else more constructive. Right? I listed that whole like hours worth of stuff, right? It doesn't need to be a gigantic change, just a small. And then we progress from there. Maybe next week you'd only watch 6 hours. And maybe you get it down to a certain amount of time, right? Whatever you find acceptable for you. Levi says, Janice sounds like a tough love for self. At first it sounds harsh, but lately I've been pushing through when my body starts to feel icky, health stuff. But I'm so grateful with the results. Thanks for saying that. You're welcome. Yeah. Angel, it's a shortened Pomodoro. Pomodoro is 25 minutes, 5-minute break. I do longer Pomodoro, 50 minutes, 10-minute break. So yeah, so that's what I was doing for a while, 50 minutes of work and 10-minute break. I really can't go over an hour on like a hard thing. But yeah, I do like a shortened Pomodoro for some stuff, and other stuff I do closer to an hour. Stacy says, after a string of stressful days, I took a few days of staycation. Good for you. Felt great to binge watch my History Channel recordings and just putz around on only small things. I had to look at it in terms of it doesn't matter that there's a pandemic, but that I need to give myself downtime and empty my mental cup days just because that's what I would do to take care of me. Sorry, the thing scrolled on me there. But you're right, Stacy. So I liken this to like what a Sunday usually looks like for me. So I go pretty hard at it during the weekdays. Saturday's a blend of work and family time, and then Sunday I generally try to make it only family stuff. Like we get really relaxed. We screw around, watch TV, play video games, maybe do things in the yard. In the summer, we might go to the pool, and then we probably meal plan and meal prep Sunday night. But those, like sometimes even on a Saturday, if we're not running around doing sports, we'll just do nothing. And what those do nothing days do for me is it's like a breath. It's like you ran a sprint and now you just sat down and took a couple of breaths and recuperated. And as long as we get back up and run again, that's okay, right? And again, running for you might be different than running for somebody else. But we all need that contrast between running and taking a break, right? And even the people that say, well, I don't define my day on the weekend, you should be. And you should be making that priority, taking a break, right? Making sure that that break is restful. That your priority might just be, I'm going to take care of myself. And what that does is that helps you when another obligation comes in, or when you feel that pull to work or do something that you just need a break from. You can look back at your book and say, my priority today was to take care of myself. So I'm not going to let somebody else say, hey, can you help me move today? I can't. I'm sorry. I'd love to, but I have things on my schedule, and that thing on my schedule is to sit around and do nothing. But you don't have to tell them that. But taking care of yourself should be a priority, and taking that break is not something you need to be ashamed of. Caroline, you got it. Amy says, exactly. I'm not single, but husband is very easygoing, so it's still hard to get motivated. Yeah. Every day, looking at where you want to be, what's important to you, and bringing it back to what you're doing today that connects with it. Angel, you had a job where you were required to watch TV for 8 hours every day? I couldn't handle it. I could not handle that. And Barb doesn't watch TV at all. It's funny because everybody has like everybody's sense of what's acceptable is so different, right? I'm watching more TV now because I'm watching the news. I'm watching more TV now than ever. We watch like 3 movies a week. That's a ton for me. It's just the difference in what's acceptable right now. But I'm still working, right? I'm still trying to do the things that are healthy for me. Anna, you're welcome. I appreciate that. Thank you. Grace and baby steps. And that's the thing, right? Grace and I think that's a great place to end. Grace, baby steps forward. Don't quit. Do not quit. There's a big difference between grace and quitting. Don't quit. All right. I'm going to head out. I appreciate you guys all joining me today. Make it a great day. Stay healthy. Keep moving forward, and I will see you again tomorrow.